Let's talk about getting perfectly crispy roasted potatoes. It's not about luck. We're going to walk through a simple 3-pillar framework that guarantees you get that golden, crunchy exterior every single time. It's all about controlling moisture and heat. So, does this sound familiar? You're expecting a super satisfying crunch, but instead your potatoes are, well, they're soft, maybe even a little soggy. We've all been there. It's a really common problem, and it usually happens because the cooking environment is creating steam instead of that dry heat you need for roasting. But the solution? It's surprisingly straightforward. The solution is this framework, the 3 pillars of crisp. Once you master these 3 core principles, you can totally remove all the guesswork from the process. It's all about getting repeatable, delicious results. So here they are, the 3 pillars. Number 1, eliminate steam. Number 2, don't crowd the pan. And number 3, use high heat. Let's break down each one, and we're going to start with the most important one of all, getting rid of that steam.
Okay, pillar 1 is super simple. Eliminate steam. You have to think of moisture as the arch nemesis of crispiness. Seriously, a crispy crust just cannot form in a steamy oven. It's a fundamental rule of roasting. This slide shows you exactly what's going on. On the left, you can see how wet potatoes just create steam, which results in a soft, almost boiled texture. But on the right, when the potatoes are dry, they make direct contact with the heat and oil. They actually roast, not steam, and that's what creates that golden, crispy crust we're all after.
So how do you get them that dry? It's a simple 2-step process. First, rinse your potatoes if they need it. Then, and this is the most critical action, you have to dry them completely with a towel. I mean, bone dry. Don't skip this. Your cue for success here is all visual. Look really closely at the potato skin. If you see any glistening or any moisture at all, they are not dry enough. You want a completely matte, dry surface. That's when you know you're ready for the next step. All right, on to pillar 2, don't crowd the pan. This is directly related to our first pillar. Because even with perfectly dry potatoes, if you pack them too tightly together, you'll just trap moisture and end up creating steam in the oven anyway, and then you're right back at square one. Just look at the difference proper spacing makes. The crowded pan on the left traps all the moisture that potatoes naturally released, creating steam pockets. That leads to unevenly cooked soft spots. But the pan on the right, with all that space, lets hot air circulate freely, which means a consistently crispy result on all sides. So here's how you do it right. Use a large baking sheet, or you know what, even 2 if you have to. Spread the potatoes in a single, even layer and make absolutely sure there's a little space around each individual piece. That gap is your secret weapon for ultimate crispiness. And finally, pillar 3, use high heat. You can do everything else right, but without a hot enough oven, you just will not get that deep, satisfying crunch. High, consistent heat is an absolute must. So what's the magic number? You're aiming for 220 to 230 degrees Celsius, or 425 to 450 Fahrenheit, and it is so essential that your oven is fully preheated to this temperature before your pan ever goes inside. Okay, now here's a common mistake you really need to avoid. Do not lower the temperature halfway through the cooking process. You've got to resist that temptation. Keep the heat high from the minute they go in to the minute they come out to develop that perfect, crispy texture. If you follow these 3 pillars, this is the result you'll get every single time. A deep, golden brown crust that's audibly crispy with a soft, fluffy interior. Your final check for doneness is that beautiful color and the satisfying sound the potatoes make when you shake the pan. So, to recap, eliminate steam, don't crowd the pan, and use high heat. And you know, these aren't just rules for potatoes. They're the foundation for perfectly roasting almost anything. So now that you've mastered the art of crispiness, what's next on your roasting agenda?